Next story I want to talk about is Bernie Sanders has been tweeting on Twitter. He's been talking about, I don't think billionaires should exist. No one should be a billionaire. He's kind of pledging, directly or indirectly, to basically get rid of billionaires in America. That's what he wants to do. And here's what I want to say, because if you guys know, I wouldn't say best friends. I don't get invited over Thanksgiving dinner or anything, but I'm friends with Roseanne, who, likes the President Trump, but she also says a lot in her videos, and to me personally, she says as well that she doesn't think there should be billionaires. $1 billion is too much money. No one needs more than $100 million. I understand the philosophy of if somebody has $100 billion, it's disgusting. Jeff Bezos needs to pay taxes. He needs to treat his workers right. Trump knows that. Tucker Carlson knows that. Bernie Sanders knows that. Progressive. Everybody knows that. Why does Jeff Bezos have so much money? Why doesn't he pay taxes? Look into the Panama Papers. It's true. There's a lot of wealthy people, that are avoiding taxes, and it's not okay. I think if we all have to pay taxes, I can't avoid my taxes, so why would wealthy people not pay taxes? I agree. Here's where I have to disagree, though, and people, I hope you listen to what I'm saying. I'm not a shill for the billionaire class, trust me. In all of Bernie Sanders' plans, he says he's going to get rid of the billionaires. And here's a fact in California and New York and all states. The wealthy pay a majority of the taxes. That's just true. That's why Chris Cuomo's freaking out, because he knows that the wealthy are the ones who pay a big share of the taxes, and Bernie wants them to pay a bigger share. It's great, but you have to be smart about it, or else you're going to screw over the working class. So what Bernie Sanders doesn't realize is if you pass some sort of law or bill that says there's no more billionaires allowed in America. America, if you get $1 billion, we're going to tax you $50 billion or however much you have to put you under $1 billion. Billionaires don't have to stay in America, bro. They can move. They can move to Canada. They can move to Mexico. They can move to China. They can move to Europe. They can move to Africa. They can move to South America. They don't have to stay here. And that's the thing that progressives, I think they have good intentions, but they don't understand how reality works. And there's a silver lining that we could talk about. But in California has one of the highest taxes. They have one of the highest business charge. They try to implement all of these policies that say, if you're a big business, if you're wealthy, you're going to pay more. People leave. They don't have to stay in California. So what you see, the one year you had the most small businesses going overseas to China. You have a lot of people with money. They don't have to stay. So in California, I'm paying for it. Working class people are paying for it. So if you scare all the billionaires away, they don't have to stay in America. They don't have to stay in California. They don't have to stay in New York. They're not going to if you say you're going to tax them 70, 80, 90%. So it's going to fall on the people. And another thing, when it comes to taxing the billionaires, here's what you need to understand. If I could tell Jeff Bezos, Jeff, take $50 billion and put it in a smart, strategic place that could really help humanity, put it to the right places and hold that money accountable so they do great work, I would do it. But the reality is what Bernie Sanders would do is take money from billionaires, take money from the wealthy, raise taxes on you a little bit, and it would go to the federal government who has too much money already. They have trillions upon trillions of dollars every year that they mismanage because they don't have to manage it properly. I always use this example. Try to follow me. I know the government's corrupt. You know the government's corrupt. Left to right, everyone knows the government's corrupt. The Trump supporters want to drain the swamp. The Bernie supporters want to tax the rich. We know that the government's corrupt. One of many reasons that the government's corrupt is because they get money every year regardless of how good of a job they do. So let's have an example. For me, if I lose $100,000 or $50,000, I'm out of business. I can't pay rent. My business doesn't exist. I don't exist. If the government does that, it doesn't matter to them. They don't have to care because they're going to get your money next year. So if the state of California does nothing about homelessness, which they're pretty much doing, they do nothing about poverty. California's the top in poverty. They don't get penalized. They get rewarded. Your taxpayer dollars are going to come to them next year. So, we did a horrible job. Here's $5 trillion more dollars. So why would they do a good job? In many ways, in government budgets and others, they purposely kind of do a bad job because say you do a job that costs $50 billion and you do it for $5 billion, you're not going to get the budget of $50 billion next year. So you're kind of incentivized to do a worse job because then you get all the money. If you clean cut it and you're like, oh, we could do it for $1 billion, next year they'll be like, great, here's $1 billion. And then you're like, wait, I just cut myself out of $49 billion. So you have to understand the levels of things going on here. And in a lot of places where progressive policies exist, like say in California, they want to pass a $15 minimum hour wage. If you did that, if you're a big business like Subway or Walmart, yeah, it might get the workers a little more money temporarily, but if you're a mom and pop shop, a restaurant, myself, and you only have 1 or 2 employees or people that you can't pay that much, you can't afford to do that. You're either going to have to raise the prices of the food or you're going to have to go out of business. I mean, that's happening in California. You're having Sorry, someone called in. You're having record numbers of businesses leaving and moving and they can't afford to open. So that's literally what's going to happen. And if you go to most other states, you can get a sandwich for $7 or $8. You can't find a sandwich in California, for at least in the cities, for under $15. That's what happens. So when it comes to the billionaires, I want to use an example too real quick. I have a friend, I mean, I'm not great friends with him, but he's a billionaire. He made a lot of money with a jet company. His wife owns Spanx. He, every week on his Instagram, he goes at the food industry, he goes at the drug industry, he calls out big pharma. He's a great guy. He has no problem calling out the corruption in the government. I'd rather him have his money as a billionaire than give it to the federal government. The government does not need his money. I mean, some billionaires, yes, they're corrupt, but the last place I want to give their money is to the government. And whether it's government or other people, a lot of these big charities are mostly scams. When you do an audit on them, you find out that most of their money ends up going to administration costs. It's like the school system is so corrupt, most of it's going to administration when you go to a lot of these charities. So just because you give away money or take money from someone, it doesn't mean it's going to help people. We already have the government having too much money. So I get where he's coming from. I understand that he doesn't want a lot of people to have the money. But I have to say, just to be honest, these are things that I think a lot of progressives don't think of. Billionaires don't have to stay in your state or country. So if you lose their service or business, now someone's going to have to pay that $1 million, $2 million. It's always the working class. It's always the lower middle class, or the lower upper class. Also, billionaires giving money to the federal government just seems like a bad idea. What we need is not, in my personal opinion, we don't need people who just keep saying we need to get rid of private insurance, give them this, give them that, give them healthcare, they're going to do education. They don't do anything right. We need to give less power to the government, but also we need leaders in there like a Trump or even somebody stronger and bigger that holds them accountable, that goes and stop Obama. Do you know how much he spent on a website? He spent, at first they said it was $700 million. And then after cost, they said it was up to like between 1 and 2 something billion dollars on a website. Websites cost $1 million, $2 million, $10 million max, $20 million. I mean, that's an exaggeration of how much you need for a website, but even if it's a big project, $2 billion for a website that didn't even work, they launched it and it didn't work. This is what government does. So you take money from billionaires, you give it to the government. It's not the play. We need to hold Amazon accountable. The corporations need to pay their fair share. They could look at the Panama Papers and figure out who's avoiding taxes and make them pay. I'm cool with all that, but at the same time, it's like, you got to understand the old analogy as well. This is why I really want to uplift people, uplift our culture, inspire the kids. Don't fill them with fear. Make them create, invent, do things great, because you could give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. That's what welfare is. It's giving them a fish and penalizing them if they do too well. Then it's like, oh, we're going to take your fish away. If you teach a man to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. So we have to figure out a way to teach people to be great. You could take, I don't even like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, but you could take $50 billion from Jeff Bezos, give it to the government, it's going to be gone like that. It's going to be gone in 3 days. So it's not necessarily going to empower the youth. It's not going to build schools. You could build schools, but it's like, what kind of schools are they? Are they schools that inspire? Are they schools that make winners? Or are they indoctrination government schools that, quash creativity and tell your kid, he's got ADD if he's creative, so they can shove pharmacy pills in their mouth? You get what I'm saying? It's a great idea to hold the ultra wealthy accountable, but it's never a great idea, in my opinion, to just assume that taking from the ultra wealthy and giving it to the government is going to somehow make America a better place, because one, they don't have to stay, and you're finding that in a lot of these progressive states, the rich leave. They don't have. Chris Cuomo's, pooping his pants because, AOC's like 80% tax, and Chris Cuomo knows he gets all the money from the rich people. So if they leave New York City because of AOC, now he's screwed. He knows that. All of these people, Gavin Newsom, he'll figure that out, sooner than later. The more they penalize the wealthy and ambitious, smart, good people, people that enhance their community, and replace them with people who just want free stuff or a handout or whatever, your culture, your society, your state, your city is going to deteriorate. Trash is going to increase, crime is going to increase. So they got to figure this stuff out. There needs to be a revolution, but it's not a political revolution of giving the government more money and power, more access over the healthcare, more access over the, over the education system. The same government that we all know is corrupt, the swamp that just seems like it can't be drained. They don't need more power. They don't need more stuff. They have too much already, and they squander it. They need someone to hold them accountable so they don't constantly waste our taxpayer money, and they actually do something with it. The real revolution's not political. It's just not. It's spiritual. It's mental. It's it's inspirational. It's like, I'm gonna do it. The government could take my mother, whether Bernie Sanders wants 50%, whether Trump wants 30%, whether Obama wants 40%. My attitude is I'm going to win regardless. I don't care if Elizabeth Warren wins. I mean, I don't want her to. But if she wins and tries to steal all my money, she's not going to stop me from being great. She's not going to stop me from achieving my goals. She's not going to stop me from keeping it real. So I don't really care. That's the revolution. It's like, we're going to win regardless. We're not going to cry about Trump. We're not going to cry. We're going to win. And the more winners you have, the more people will realize we don't need the government. Scott Presler cleaned up a bigger chunk of trash than the government's probably cleaned up in 3 years by himself. You know who funded him? Probably nice people who live all around the world who want to see Los Angeles cleaned up. People are inherently good. We don't need the government. Oh, they need schools and build roads. I guarantee you, if we didn't pay any taxes, I'm sure, I'm not trying to say I don't want to pay any taxes, but I guarantee you there would be roads paved. I guarantee you there'd be GoFundMes. Trump couldn't get the wall built in the one area, and some disabled veteran raised like $100 million or something, and Trump supporters built the wall themselves. That's what we're made of. That's what makes America great, is ambition, not crying and screaming and acting like giving your money to the government's going to solve it. We need winners. I guarantee you I could help crowdfund $1 billion for schools if they stop paying for schools, and the schools would probably be better. I'm not saying I want to do this. I'm just spitballing right now. I'm just saying that the solution that Bernie has is like, these people are bad, and that's kind of the left or right trap. The left wing says the rich are bad, so we're going to make government bigger. Corporations are bad, so we're going to make government bigger. I'm not a fan of corporations, but I would have to say, if you want to look at who does better work, it's probably corporations over the government. Almost everything the government does is like very low tier work because they don't have to. A corporation has somewhat accountability. Although Bezos and all these other guys, they have to pay taxes. I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's like, corporation's bad. So then you want to empower the government. That's the worst thing you could do. A lot of right wingers are like, capitalism, capitalism, capitalism. America's great. it's perfect, and that's not true either. Capitalism has its flaws. America has its flaws. We're a great country, but the food and drug industry, and not the administration, the industry is a little sketchy. Why aren't we the healthiest country? Why is our suicide rate higher? Why is our life expectancy going down? Why are so many people, you get what I'm saying? That's the trap. It's like, capitalism's perfect and great. That's not true. Well, capitalism's bad, so this is good. That's not true. That's worse than capitalism. Capitalism's not perfect, but that's worse. So you can't stop billionaires from existing. It's just not going to happen. They're going to go somewhere else. And also, some billionaires that I personally know are actually much, much better than the government, and I'd much rather them have the money than somebody else to spend it as they... I don't want Bernie to take my money. When I have more money, I buy my friends stuff. Now that I'm doing decently, I buy everybody stuff. I'm like, here, I'll take you out to eat. I'll buy you a Red Bull. I'll buy you a kombucha. I like to spread the love to my friends in my community when I'm doing well. If you steal all my money, I can't do that. I understand everyone's not like me, but just big government doesn't actually make sense. And one more thing I want to say before I leave. This ideology was explained by Delaney. I'm not a big fan of the guy, but he was explaining, you're going to eliminate all private health insurance, Bernie and Elizabeth. And they said, no, we're not. We're going to give them, we're going to give them. And they just scream at you. But the truth, that is what you're going to do. A lot of working people have private insurance. They don't want you to take it away and force them into a singular. Universal health care is a singular, one government health solution. Do you think it's a good idea? The insurance companies are corrupt. The health industry is corrupt. I'm not doubting that for a second. But do you think the solution is taking all that away, putting it all into the hands of government, the government that you think is so corrupt, and then letting them decide everything? And then if you opt out, it's a penalty. It's a mandatory one government health system. That's literally an Orwellian nightmare. It's like the only thing that's worse than what we're doing now. So people got to use their heads a little bit. It's like you don't have to like the billionaire elite class. You don't have to like Trump. You don't have to like me. But don't give all my stuff and your stuff and everyone's stuff to the government and act like it's going to happen. And certain policies sound good, but you got to think about how they do. $15 an hour minimum wage and raising business tax, it makes people leave the state. Now you lose money. Now you lose tax money. Someone has to pay for it. Somebody has to, fill in. That's why, I hate to break it to you, but that's why San Francisco's dirty. That's why the living expenses are high in San Francisco. That's why Los Angeles, it's definitely a place people want to be too, but that's why, a lot of this stuff kind of slowly declines and people are like, what? It was clean 10 years ago. You gotta up the revolutions of the spirit, of the mind, of the heart, of the soul, of the people, not in money situations. It's mindset, the revolutions of the mind. It's like, we're going to make America great regardless of who's in power. The revolution's not, I feel like a victim, so I'm going to give my money to the government and expect them to do something. They're not going to do it. I don't expect Trump to do it. I don't expect Bernie to do it. If they do anything, it's a nice surprise, but I don't expect it. That's my thoughts. Let me know yours on the whole billionaire thing, because I understand it's a multi-layered problem. Capitalism, socialism, billionaires, corporations, government, I get it. It's a whole discussion, but thank you guys for your support. Appreciate you. Thank you to everybody who's congratulating me for the television appearances. I appreciate you. Yeah, it was very cool. Something even bigger this week. I'm not going to announce it, but it's a very legendary week. And like I said earlier, I'm even more proud that we've been able to get like 300 million views with no corporation, no television appearances, no big backer, no donors, no network, you know what I'm saying? Mainstream media literally just lied about me and called me all sorts of smears and stuff before this one appearance. So I'm even more proud of that, because that's some real root level ground up stuff. Started from the bottom, now we're here. And now we got to take a nap. God bless you guys. Appreciate you again. And if you don't do anything, sign up for my free email list. It's 100% free, and I could give you little updates when I'm going to be in your city or something for an event or such. I'm very non-spammy, so if you're watching and you're new, check in the top, sign up to my free email list. I promise you I'm the least annoying email list you're ever going to be on. I can't stand email lists. I don't like getting emails every week. It's really annoying. I usually unsubscribe, so I don't do that. I'm like the easiest email list you'll ever be on. I literally send out an email one every 3 months, and then I'll send it out maybe a couple times if I have an event. That's about it. I'm not going to annoy you, I promise. So sign up to my free email list. Thank you guys. I'll be back. Thanks so much for your support and kind words about the TV stuff. Very, very cool. And I am forever grateful. Thank you guys.